Well, I'm back and you're here. I hope all is well. This video continues with part 3 of Alpha Brass process beginning to end. We are going to check and clean primer pockets, check headspace fitment, lube, size, and brush necks out and get ready for the next steps. You are going to need to know what your headspace is for your rifle, chamber, and bolt combo. So if you don't know this, please watch this video first that I will put up here. Reloading series number 8, how to headspace brass to your rifle. So stay tuned. Alrighty, let's go. Okay, our first thing to do is to check primer pockets, which I know this is totally not even needed now after one firing, but I do want to show you how to do it just in case. This tool here, I'm going to put up on the side here what it is and who makes it, and it's a really nice tool. This is the small primer one, and they make a large primer one also. So all you do is, one side is go, one side is no go. I put some green tape on here to show go, no go, okay? So you simply try to put it in. So this green go doesn't even go in, okay? Because this has only got one firing on it, okay? And this Alpha Brass is supposed to last much longer, so we're going to find out. And of course, the red, no-go, that's, yeah, forget it. So that's all you do to check them. Just see, if the green goes in, that's okay, but if the red goes in, you want to toss that piece of brass. This is barely breaking the bevel and going in, okay? So that's what that is. Let's move on to the next part. All right, this step here is cleaning the primer pockets with the same PMA tool, primer pocket correction tool, made for small Alpha Brass small primer pocket. Now, I just did one, and I was very, very surprised at what happened. When they were all done, they were all .1240. Okay? All 100 of them. Perfect. That's why I love this tool by PMA. I just did one, and I took out a hell of a lot of brass to get it back to 1.1240. I'm sorry, to get it back to .1240. All right, hold the boat on that. It turns out, thanks to my good record keeping, which I always talk about, that I did not uniform the primer pockets on this box 1 because I was waiting for the Alpha tool, and I got a little impatient and figured this is just, you know, fire forming brass anyways. So I did not do that step. So, you know, it had been a couple months since I made the brass. I forgot all about it, but I went back to my record keeping, and there you go. So this is why I'm taking off so much brass, because it's never been done. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. In the meantime, I'm going to get all these done. You don't need to watch me do it. You know what's going on here. Okay, so all the primer pockets are uniform. So the next step is to headspace our brass to our chamber. Now, I have an entire video on that, and I will also put a link in this video or a screen or something to show you how to do that. But I'm going to get probably a little different reading now, because you know this insert here on Short Action Customs, their headspace sensor, I also was using this along with my brackets for the primer seating depth. So what I did is I bought a separate one just for this. That'll stay on here. And then the other one is for, you know, my Duraco primer. So I maybe get a little different reading. So that's why I'm doing this again. So I'm going to check. Whoops, not on and off, but 0. Okay, we're zeroed. So 107.15. 1.0715. Same. 1.0715. So usually when I load brass for fire forming, I load the bullets long in a medium above average charge, and they expand to the chamber the first time. That's usually how it's been, but that's why we're going to go through this test now, and I'm going to show you to make sure that you know that they've been expanded to the chamber fully. Sometimes some brass takes 2 or 3 firings. Okay, so there we've got 10 of them in, I think, is it? Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. And what do you know? Average, shortest, and longest, all the same. So they all came in at 1.0715. That is a good thing. Okay, what we're going to do now before we size our brass is we check that brass, and it was at 1.0715 headspace, okay? So with the bolt stripped, which means taking the firing pin out, now I also gave you directions if you want to watch that whole video about how to headspace your brass to your gun. We're going to take a piece of brass, we're going to put it in there, and as you can see, the handle will not fall down, which means it's too large, okay? I'll take this piece out. You can see how the handle falls freely. When I put that piece back in, that handle will not drop. Of course, I could force it down if I wanted to, but that's not what we want. So, my die, I'm pretty sure I have my die, my Short Action Customs modular sizing die with the neck bushing, combination neck bushing, all set up. I'm pretty sure that's set at 1.0695. So now, let's go over to sizing the brass. We'll size one piece at a time and come back to this and see how that goes. Now, I also have a video on how to do this, but I figure I'll show you again. Let me put some gloves on. You're going to need gloves for this. Nitrile gloves, whatever you want to call them. These things. Sometimes they go on easy, sometimes not. Now, I learned this method from somebody on YouTube long time ago. And I've searched for the video again because I want to give them credit, and I just can't find it. So what we have here is Imperial sizing wax. Okay, that's what I use. I've got close to 100 pieces of brass in here. So what I'm going to do is that even looks like a bit too much. You see this amount I've got on my finger here? I'm going to take that and I'm going to rub these gloves together now. Okay? Just the insides of them. Then I'm going to start doing this with spreads it all around all the brass. You'll believe me, this gets it done. You only want a thin coating anyways, because this stuff goes a long way. Just keep working it in. You know, it takes a couple of minutes, but it does the job. Now you can see it's almost all gone off of the gloves. Now I don't know if you can see that, but there's a nice thin coating everywhere. So now we're going to size them. So I'm going to have to reset up the camera for that also. Okay, now what's different here, since I started this channel, is I used to also lube the necks. I do not lube the necks anymore with anything, because what's left over after rice tumbling on the inside of the necks, the carbon there is plenty good. So I don't have to go through that step. I got through that step. So we're going to size one piece now and see where we are. Zeroed. Okay, and we are at 1.0695. So I didn't have to do anything. We do another one. Make sure we're good. Again, 1.0695. So now we're going to go back over with these two pieces of brass and show how this fitment thing works. Okay, we've got our first two pieces sized at 1.0695. Now I'm going to show you. This is at 1.0695. I can put it in, and the bolt falls now. Okay? Now this here is really the part that I want to give credit to Eric Cortina. We're going to take just a regular piece of Scotch tape and we're going to stick it on the bottom. Okay? Now, I don't know how Eric Cortina got this trick, figured it out. And then we're going to roll it around on metal. You got to push hard and roll it around, because what we're wanting to do is cut that edge. And there we go. We cut that edge out. Well, that one worked better than normal. Now, we're going to take that same piece that is 1.0695. We're going to put it back in here. And that handle will not go down. So we know we have not sized it too much. We have sized it actually 2/1000ths, okay? We went from 1.0715 to 1.0695, which is 2/1000ths exactly, and that's what I like to shoot around. 2/1000ths, no more. I could go a little less, maybe, you know, a 0.5 But that right there shows, improves that. This brass, when fire formed, was fire formed to the chamber because it would not close. Now, of course, you all know, make sure you got your firing pin assembly out of your bolt. You have to have it stripped. Make sure you lube your lugs too also so they slide nice, and if you want to oil your shaft too, which I do. So now, I'm going to take this piece of tape off. Okay, now there may be a little bit of adhesive from the tape left on there, so I'll try to rub off the best I can. That should be clean. That is clean. Now we're going to put it back in, and the bolt drops. So we're good to go on that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to size all the rest of the brass, and then I'll clean off the brass. I use these gloves, they're microfiber gloves, and I do the same thing I do with the lube in the pan, mixing it around with these gloves, and it wipes all the lube off also. Maybe I'll show you a clip in there. Okay, now we're going to clean the imperial sizing wax off of the brass, which you have to do. You don't want to leave that on there. You want your brass to grab tightly in that chamber when it's expanding. You don't want lube in there. A rag, this is the same bowl that I put the sizing on. I'm going to clean out the excess wax out of it. Now we want to be a little more careful with our brass. So dump it in there gently. Now, these are microfiber gloves I ordered off of Amazon. I used to do these one at a time with a rag. It was the most boring thing I could do. So, just like we did with putting the wax on, only a little gentler this time, we're going to go in here and do the same thing. You can see I'm getting stuff on my gloves. So one pair of gloves is good, you know, for about 100 pieces. But what I do is I take them off and switch hands with them. Now I'm on the other sides of the glove. And I'll do it some more. Yes. That does a good job and saves a lot of time. All right, so now we're just going to brush the necks out. So that's it for this episode. I hope you all learned something and stick with me for the next episode. If you liked this video, please do the channel a favor and leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for all notifications to get notified on new videos. Also, here is a QR code you can scan to get to the website where there is a wealth of information and my shop page. Thank you for watching.